What's up, Reds family? Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC. Huge transfer twist today. Eddie Howe's made a shock U-turn on Alexander Isac after Liverpool's interest. Could this be the breakthrough we've been waiting for? Stick around, because I've got all the juicy details coming your way. Before we dive in, smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the latest Liverpool transfer news. Eddie Howe makes Alexander Isac U-turn after Liverpool interest and transfer blows. Newcastle striker Alexander Isac is pushing for a move to Liverpool, and Toon boss Eddie Howe has made a decision over his involvement in their upcoming friendlies. Newcastle boss Eddie Howe has performed a U-turn over Alexander Isac, with the striker now not expected to feature in their upcoming friendly matches amid Liverpool's ongoing interest in signing him. Isac missed Newcastle's tour of Asia and was the subject of a huge bid from Liverpool that Newcastle ultimately rejected. However, the Reds are set to reignite their interest in Isac once Darwin Núñez's move to Al Hilal is complete. Isac is currently training away from the first-team squad, but it had been previously suggested that Howe was ready to select him for Newcastle's upcoming pre-season friendlies against Espanyol and Atletico Madrid. However, Howe has decided not to pick Isac for either of those games, as first reported by the Daily Mail. It's understood Newcastle are sticking to their stance that they will only sell Isac if they have his replacement lined up. Newcastle value the 25-year-old at £150 million and have already missed out on two potential replacements. Hugo Ekitike ended up signing for Liverpool, while Benjamin Sesko is on the verge of joining Manchester United. When asked about Isak's future earlier this week, Howe said, "You have to earn the right to train with us. We are Newcastle United. The player has a responsibility here to be part of a team and part of a squad. You have to act in the right way. So that is also at play here. We will make sure that any player does that to earn the right to train with the group. No player can expect to act poorly and train with the group as normal. Of course I'd like him to be there, but whether he will I don't know at this moment in time. We have been here with the time difference, preparing for training and for games. Other people have been dealing with that situation back at home. Newcastle are now weighing up moves for a number of forwards, including Nicholas Jackson, Yoane Wissa and Ollie Watkins. We are looking at the best players we can get. We are only looking at the best we can get. I see all situations open and available to us," Howe said. "I feel that is the only way we are going to get where we want to go, which is to maximize quality over quantity. It has been a challenging summer, as you know. We have missed out on loads of different targets for different reasons. But we are still very competitive and we are still in there trying to bring good players to the club. That won't change until the window shuts." Alexander Isac camps plan to make Newcastle buckle and force Liverpool transfer. Alexander Isac is keen to join Liverpool this summer, and the Reds are set to ramp up their interest in the Newcastle striker after Darwin Núñez completes his move to Al Hilal. Alexander Isac's camp plan to apply more pressure on Newcastle to sell the striker to Liverpool, with the Reds ready to make another move after agreeing to sell Darwin Núñez to Al Hilal. Núñez is on the verge of joining Al Hilal after a deal was agreed worth an initial £46 million but set to rise beyond £50 million. And Núñez's impending departure means Liverpool are now expected to press ahead with their plans to sign Isac, having already had an offer worth £110 million rejected by Newcastle earlier this month. Isac is currently training away from the first-team squad, and a new report from the Eye claims that the players' camp are ready to start applying pressure to the situation, with the hope the Magpies will ultimately buckle. The report states that Newcastle continue to insist that he is not for sale, particularly after their struggles trying to recruit a new striker. Newcastle have already missed out on Hugo Ekitike after he joined Liverpool, while RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko is on the verge of moving to Manchester United instead. Liverpool are said to be keen to ensure any deal represents fair market value, and, with Newcastle valuing the 25-year-old at £150 million. The report adds that Newcastle are now weighing up a move for Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson, valuing the forward at around £60 million. Chelsea, though, are said to believe Jackson is worth around £70 million. When asked about Isak's future earlier this week, Newcastle boss Eddie Howe said, "You have to earn the right to train with us. We are Newcastle United. The player has a responsibility here to be part of a team and part of a squad. You have to act in the right way. So that is also at play here. We will make sure that any player does that to earn the right to train with the group. No player can expect to act poorly and train with the group as normal. Of course I'd like him to be there, but whether he will I don't know at this moment in time. We have been here with the time difference, preparing for training and for games. Other people have been dealing with that situation back at home." Newcastle also remain interested in Brentford star Uturn Wissa, but they only value the forward at £30 million, which is short of the Bees' asking price. Brentford are also keen to keep Wissa, particularly after selling Brian Bumo. £48 million player looks destined for Liverpool move after what Newcastle have done. Arne Slot will be pleased. Liverpool and Newcastle have been in the headlines a lot together this summer. Arne Slot pinched Hugo Ekitike away from Eddie Howe initially, robbing Newcastle of a primary target. Liverpool are now trying to take Alexander Isac from the Magpies just to rub salt in the wound. Liverpool and Newcastle also want to sign Mark Gahey from Crystal Palace this summer, although those on Tyneside have just made a move which strongly suggests Richard Hughes, director of football at Anfield, might now have a free run at the England international. Newcastle push for Malik Thiaw. TBR Football understand Newcastle are now in advanced talks with AC Milan over a deal to sign Malik Thiaw. Those at the San Siro are ready to sell the Germany international, and a move to Tyneside for the AC Milan number 28 would suggest Newcastle no longer have a need for Gahey, if we were to speculate. A post from Ed Aarons of The Guardian claimed that Gahey preferred a move to Liverpool over Newcastle anyway, so perhaps that is potentially why Howe turned his attention towards Thiaw. Ibrahima Konate is currently refusing a new contract at Liverpool, while Jarell Quansah has been sold to Bayer Leverkusen, so Slot could use a new central defender. Foot Mercado say Liverpool have bid for Mark Gahey. French news outlet Foot Mercado claimed on Tuesday that Liverpool have already made 2 bids for Gahey, although Crystal Palace deemed them to be insulting. It is also said that the South Londoners want €55 million, £48 million, for the central defender, a fee Liverpool are currently unwilling to pay. However, with Gahey keen on a move to Anfield, it feels as if the 25-year-old is destined to end up on Merseyside, whether it happens this summer, or on a free transfer in the summer of 2026. Tottenham and Bayern Munich to rival Newcastle for Alexander Isac transfer replacement. Senegalese forward Nicolas Jackson will leave Chelsea this summer and Newcastle hope to sign him as a solution to their Alexander Isac problem, but Tottenham and Bayern Munich are also keen. Part of Liverpool's wait to sign Newcastle striker Alexander Isac, who has made clear he only wants to play for the Reds next season, seems to be the Magpies' inability to sign a replacement. Newcastle have already been rejected by new Manchester United signing Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig and Liverpool forward Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt. Even Brentford striker Uturn Wissa seems poised to move to Saudi Arabia over Newcastle, who are owned by the PIF. Transfer expert Fabrizio Romano reported on Wednesday that the Tyneside club is entering the race to sign Chelsea forward Nicolas Jackson, available after the Blues inked, and continue to ink, a cadre of shinier options this summer. However, the transfer expert now reports that Newcastle will, once again, have competition. From my understanding, the decision between Chelsea and Nicolas Jackson is to mutually part ways. Jackson will leave Chelsea, Romano said on his podcast. Price tag around £80 million, but at the moment, no club is arriving at that. There is strong interest from Newcastle, then there is also interest from Tottenham. If Richarlison leaves, then there is interest from Tottenham, he continued. Other clubs called, from Italy, from Germany, like Bayern, Munich. But at the moment, the Premier League looks like the most likely destination. Richarlison arrived from Everton in the summer of 2023 from Everton for £50 million, $67 million, and has 2 years remaining on his contract. Tottenham also spent north of that sum on former Liverpool man Dominic Solanke last summer and made Mathys Tell's move from Bayern permanent this window. Bayern still owns a 32-year-old Harry Kane but doesn't have an out-and-out backup for the English international. The German giants have also sniffed around lanky VfB Stuttgart striker Nick Wolt made most of the summer to no avail. Jackson, 24, is a frustrating but talented talent cut from a similar cloth as Darwin Núñez. He's scored 24 goals over the past 2 Premier League seasons after Chelsea signed him from Villarreal for £32 million, $43 million, in 2023. However, those 24 goals came from 30 expected goals. His 0.60 non-penalty XG marks from the 2023-24 season were one of the highest marks in the division. Newcastle, who also lost backup striker Callum Wilson, has also expressed interest in longtime West Ham forward Michail Antonio as a potential option. Currently, the Magpies' only senior option through the middle is William Osula. Liverpool handed Alexander Isac lifeline as top Newcastle target is open to playing for Eddie Howe. Another twist may be unfolding in the Alexander Isac to Liverpool transfer saga. The Reds have seen a £110 million bid rejected by Newcastle United after making their first official attempt to sign the striker this window. Whether Isac leaves St James' Park depends on multiple factors, the main ones being if Liverpool will approach the table with a new offer and if Newcastle are in a position to sell. Eddie Howe's side have not had the backup in place to justify selling Isac this summer. Their bad luck when it comes to new signings has only added to the frustration, as top targets like Liam Delap, Brian Mbeumo, and João Pedro have all turned down the idea of signing for the Magpies. Newcastle also look set to miss out on Benjamin Sesko, who is linked with rivals Manchester United. However, they may have finally been given the lifeline they've been waiting for. Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson is another centre-forward on Newcastle's radar, and they may finally strike it lucky with this pursuit. According to Team Talk, Newcastle have made a bold approach to sign the 24-year-old, who is now a top target for the club. The Magpies have reportedly reached out directly to Jackson's representatives and the player is said to be open to the idea of signing for them. The Senegal international is looking for regular playing time next season, with Chelsea's front line now stacked with a total of 6 centre-forwards as things stand. Agreeing personal details is believed to pose no major issues for Newcastle, as Jackson's representatives are eager to negotiate a deal that aligns with his career aspirations. However, the Magpies would need to find a significant amount of cash to get a deal done. Chelsea reportedly value Jackson at £70 million, which the club feel is reflective on his performances as well as his adaptability within the Premier League. Nicholas Jackson transfer could open the door to Alexander Isac. While £70 million is a significant amount of cash, Newcastle can fund a move for Jackson with the sale of Isac. They are said to be looking for £150 million for the Swede, which means even if £70 million goes immediately to the signing of Jackson, Newcastle will still be left with £80 million from the Isac sale, which is £20 million in profit from what they paid for him 3 years ago. David Ornstein provided an update earlier this week, relaying that Isak's chapter at Newcastle is now closed and the club are on the market for replacements. Bringing in a suitable signing, Jackson was among the names mentioned by Ornstein, could finally open the door for Liverpool to do business with their Premier League rivals. Newcastle hold his contract until 2028, so they have the power to hold on to Isac. But, I don't think they are stupid. They know the situation they have on their hands. They will continue to find suitable replacements, whether that's 1 or 2, the athlete.